Hello, beautiful souls. This is Christine Potvin, known to you all as the Paladina. And in this episode, and just so you just be aware, we are on OBBM Network TV. We still are on Roku TV on the Awake Freedom TV channel, besides here on Rumble and whatever episodes YouTube allows me to post on my YouTube channel. We're there too. All right. Okay, so what's today? Today is December 24, 2024, and it also happens to be my birthday. All right, and I just want to show you this. You probably can't see it because of the lighting, but I've got this cute little card from a friend, close friend of mine, and it's plays a little musical meowing cats meowing happy birthday, the happy birthday song. But anyway, so that's kind of cool. But what I want to do is give you guys some tips because besides it being Christmas time that most people celebrate, right? Um, you're going to be having New Year's Eve parties if you don't do that, or at Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you're celebrating. But even between now and New Year's Eve, most people are indulging in, extra desserts that they may not normally be eating, and maybe drinking a little bit of champagne, sparkling wine, things like that, that have, sulfites and other things in them that they're not used to having. And how do you avoid the hangovers, what's traditionally called the hangover headache, right? The next day from the amount of sulfites in the beverages, and also the amount of food dye. And I just want to do this special episode because I just had an experience with red velvet cake that now normally I don't eat stuff like that. It's got a lot of red dye in it, right? But once a year, the public supermarkets, that's Publix, they're mainly known here on the East Coast. They're a huge supermarket chain. Good stuff, right? I mean, it's a quality supermarket, right? And once a year, I mean, if you sign up for their coupons, their digital coupons and stuff like that as a customer, once a year, they give you a free, it's your choice, whether you get a quart or half-gallon Publix ice cream, okay, for free, or in the bakery section, it's one of those, I guess you call them a loaf cake, right? It's not quite 12 inches long, about 4 inches wide, and packaged in the little refrigerated section of the bakery. And you could have one of those, either ice cream or frozen yogurt that is in the Publix brand, or you could have one of those. I call them loaf cakes, right? Now, it's a two-layer cake with buttercream frosting. And they'll have carrot cake, they'll have red velvet cake, they'll have a white, what they call a confetti cake, right? Just, white vanilla type of cake. But it's buttercream, okay? That's across the top and in the middle between the two cake layers. Now, last year I had gotten just on a whim because one of the roommates here in this house, in this room that I rent at this house, um, we were looking at it and saying, ah, red velvet cake. Okay, why not? And I said, as long as you share it with me and I can't eat this whole thing, blah, blah, blah. Now, I did not have any reaction to it, to the dye or the frosting or anything last year. Now, this is interesting. So they give you the notification in your Publix account, right? Your login, your profile, that, oh, it's time for your free your free treat for your birthday. And I thought, okay, this kind of was reminiscent of him being here, and he was a really good person. And I thought, this is kind of cool. Let me just get red velvet cake. I mean, again, indulge it once a year or something like that, I figure, okay, it's no big deal, right? Well, very interesting. So I picked it up on Saturday the 21st, and I said, yeah, let me just, this thing is pretty huge. I'll just have a little bit of a piece, all the way up through my birthday, maybe just, maybe a few days after, and I'll be done, and I'll just eat a small piece, each day, kind of get into that celebratory mood already, right? Well, me, Miss, detox coach, Miss Toxicity expert from being poisoned pretty heavily several times, as you can see from my other videos on that. Um, I know the signs of toxicity, okay, after either eating or drinking something, okay? You guys know the tips on this. Within 30 to 60 minutes of either drinking or eating something, and then you either have very sharp stomach pain, okay, and or either feeling nauseous, maybe that might be enough to have you vomit, maybe not, right? Maybe just feeling slightly nauseous. And then usually you'll have either slight dizziness, but usually a headache will occur. Now, the headache didn't occur till the next morning, but I had that sharp pain, I would say, within an hour or so of eating this slice of red velvet cake with the frosting. Now, the frosting, I don't usually indulge in a lot of that either because of the sugar and all the other. It did have a swirl in it, like some sort of, I guess it looked like it was like a chocolate toned swirl in the frosting. And I'm not sure, it looked like it did have maybe a couple speckles of what would be considered edible, like little sparkly things or whatever. So not sure if there was something metallic, heavy metal wise or chemical wise, either in the frosting or the red velvet cake. Because I ate both. I mean, obviously I ate the cake part and this frosting. Okay. So I said, okay, let's try this again. I mean, I said, I'm pretty sure that's the cake because I had nothing else um, in between it or after it, or this was a good portion, an hour or so away after having eaten dinner. Okay. So, of course, and I'm not concerned because I, take this stuff every day, right? The glutathione, right? So I wasn't concerned that this is going to stay in me or anything, but I could tell, okay, something's not kosher with this, right? So, next day, basically the same thing. Now, what I did last night, December 23rd, was I said, let me just do a little experiment to see, is it more of the red dye in the cake portion, or is it really probably the frosting? Okay. So I took off that top layer of frosting. It pretty much can come off very easily. And I tossed that out and ate the cake part of it. All right. Which is pretty thick. I mean, the layers are, they're pretty thick, right? I had a tremendous toxicity headache this morning, waking up. And I do make sure to hydrate. I mean, besides, the glutathione and all that to protect myself, um, I did make sure you hydrate a little bit more with water. Okay. I still had that headache when I woke up this morning, almost like almost like you consider a hangover headache. So it's from something you've ingested, just similar to like drinking wine with that's commercially made with sulfites and stuff, right? To preserve it. So I actually took the cake back today to Publix and said, okay, I know I got it for free, so I'm not, but I said, I want you to let the bakery know that they may be using a particular red dye. Maybe it's a new manufacturer, and there's something maybe more chemically enhanced with it, either on the metal or chemical side, that is causing this. And I said, I know this from experience. I said, I just don't know if anyone else will bother to complain, or they'll just throw it out, or they don't pay attention and they think it's something else. They're not. making the correlation, right? Like me, Miss Geek here, making the correlation and isolating the ingredient, what you're eating to figure this out. So so I took it back. They actually put a special red sticker on it to then be given back to the bakery. And she took down the information. And this is very interesting. So she goes to me, "Are you sure it wasn't something else you ate?" Which I thought was a little bit insulting, but I said, "No, I'm very cognizant from experience and doing this for a long time. What is it toxin caused?" You know, I said, I make the correlation. So I said, it's definitely the cake. Okay. Um, hang on here. We had a little bit of a glitch here. I said, it's obviously not your fault or anything with what happened. I just want you to be aware, let the bakery know. And just so, and she did call the manager of the bakery. Now, as I was, picking up a couple more things today, so yeah, to celebrate and take these couple of days off from work, my other job. I decided to stop at the bakery. I said, let me speak to the bakery manager directly because maybe that also gives a little bit more explanation of why I came in with this. And actually, I was introduced. She was very happy to speak to me. And we were going over this. I said, I've been on television and radio, even on things like tattoo ink, having high levels of heavy metal and how people can get those out of them so that they don't have issues down the road with any problems, diseases or anything else. So get those toxins moving out of them. And I mentioned to her, and she said, what's very interesting is that when they get these products from the manufacturer, they don't even get the names of who is making the food coloring. Okay, because they even have a special cake that I've not seen before that is completely green for Christmas. They have this special loaf cake that is just completely green. I mean, we're talking about green, even the frosting, um, with this green food coloring. And I said to her, I said, last year I didn't have this reaction to the red dye. I said, obviously, I know things can change, a brand can change, whatever. But she said she actually was going to research it a bit because she knows the same thing. Most people are just going to throw something away. They're not going to come in and complain to say and let them know. So she was very appreciative that I did that. And then I wrote down for her about glutathione because she didn't know about this. She didn't know that this can help get stuff like this out of you. She didn't know also about stuff with sulfites and stuff, and that also glutathione helps to prevent viruses like COVID. And she said, yeah, it's just interesting how mainstream doesn't tell you about those things. And I'm very happy to tell you more about the pharmaceutical side of things, right? So she actually took the information. I gave her some information on the Rumble channel. And so, what I want to encourage people, because it's that time of year, is pay attention to things like red velvet cake, these new cakes that have green dye in them. And just be cognizant that within 30 to 60 minutes, usually, and sometimes it could take a little longer. Sometimes some people don't feel um the results of what they ate until maybe later in the evening. And if it is a toxin like a heavy metal or chemical, that's going to stay in you. I still felt some stomach pain like later the next day, a couple days ago. And I mean, that sharp pain. I said, this is the only thing I really ate that's got, some real serious chemicals in it. Um, so I just want you to be cognizant of it. But the good news is, as you know, the glutathione will take that out of you. You don't have to worry about any long-term, problems, right? But here's the other tip I have for you that I learned about sulfites. Now, many people get a sulfite headache. drinking either champagne, sparkling wine are usually the big ones for sulfite headaches and things like that, right? So, and actually, my father, who made his wine natural, did not use sulfites or anything, developed a sulfite allergy after years of being on all these medications. If he drank commercial wine with sulfites, he had a horrible reaction to it. And he just knew he had to stay away at that point from sulfites. If I'd known then about glutathione, I would have definitely got him on it and he would have been fine. That's but here's a tip on how do you keep those sulfites from giving you the classic hangover headache the next morning. Here's something interesting. So my ex, okay, I don't know if he's still working there. I mean, don't know, but he was working at Northrop Grumman. And he was saying to him how, he and I would drink some wine from, like, say, after dinner or for dinner, and we'd have a sulfite headache. We'd have that headache, right? And he said to him, oh, he goes, how I keep those sulfites from affecting me is I just take a Pepsid AC and no, and it somehow mitigates the sulfites from getting into your bloodstream and giving you that sulfite headache. So we picked up some sulfite, Pepsid IC, right? And the ingredient would be famotidine, okay? That's in those 10 milligram Pepsid AC tablets. Now, I got the chewable ones at first, okay? And I carry my purse. If we were at a restaurant and we were going to have some wine, we would each have a chewy. I'd give him, we'd each have one to get those, get prepared, right? Before drinking the wine and then avoid that. And then sometimes I'd buy it so that we'd have to swallow it. It'd be the tablet you swallow. But I was reading, me, big ingredient reader. What is the base ingredient in the chewables of Pepsid AC? Okay, I see if you can see this here. It's calcium. Calcium is the base. It's the base of Tums. It's the base of Rolaids. It's the base of the chewable Pepsid AC. That is the base, is calcium. So I thought to myself, okay, is it the calcium itself that helps to block or mitigate those sulfites from, affecting your, what do you call it, expanding your blood vessels in your head to give you that headache? Is it the calcium that does it? So I did a test. Now I'm taking extra calcium, okay, at before bed to get that extra calcium in me. And here's a really good one that has some extra vitamin D in it, the Nusapure. This is really fantastic calcium with extra D in it, D3 for also for, we're in cold season, right? This also helps for that, right? To boost your immune system besides glutathione and of course some extra vitamin C. We use the calcium-based non-acidic version. Okay, this is also great. Extra calcium in here too. And if you do want to protect your brain from fish oil, okay, take that daily as well. All right. So, but the thing in terms of avoiding that sulfite headache is the calcium. So this is what I did. I would before or maybe in the middle of drinking it even, I would take at least one of these, and one of these is at least 650 milligrams of calcium. Calcium citrate, which is very absorbable, easily absorbed into the body, okay? At least one of these, okay? Before really consuming like a wine or like a champagne or sparkling wine that has sulfites in it. And no headache. Okay. The other tip I have for you is that I've always learned is because alcohol is dehydrating to the body. I always drink extra water after consuming a glass or two of either wine or champagne. All right. And especially before bed, get some more water in you. All right, that also helps tremendously in rehydrating the body to avoid that classic hangover headache. All right, the next day. So those are the tips I wanted to give you regarding food coloring, adverse reactions to food coloring from either heavy metal or some sort of chemical that may just be how things are going these days with the manufacturers not caring about the vinyl polyvinyl chloride and everything else that they're throwing into our food and vitamins and all that other stuff. So I just want to give that to you because it is holiday season, and I want you all to stay as healthy and well as possible. And anyway, thank you very much. This will air soon on OBBM Network and Roku TV on the Freedom TV channel, as you know, because when it posts here in Rumble, it does go on Awake Freedom TV as well through the news feed. And that's it. Bless you all. Um, please continue supporting us to get this information global to all countries. And this also does help. Please don't feed red velvet cake or this type of stuff or alcohol to your animals and your pets. There is Earth Buddy. There is glutathione for cats and dogs. We even have a glutathione product for horses. Cilantro and bay leaf water. Animals, even birds, ducks, chickens, whatever, can eat that to get some glutathione in them to keep toxins moving out of them. Please don't feed your pets or your livestock or anything, things like cake. And as much as you want them to celebrate, that's not really, they don't need that. All right. Okay, guys. Thank you, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, anything that you celebrate. Um, be safe, be blessed, and talk to you again soon. Bye.